Hi, I just wanted to repost my first posting because when I got home and listened to it, it was nearly impossible for me to make out much of my wording because of all of the wind. I am palindrometric. For some reason, I don't like it. It comes out better like when I type it than when I say it. So palindrometric. And I was Mercy 22, so if you have seen me comment on your page, or perhaps maybe subscribe under Mercy 22, you know who I am now. Anyhow, I just wanted to introduce myself and kind of start my own weight loss journey story. I am scheduled to hopefully be able to get the vertical sleeve in a little over 3 months. My insurance came back with the last request stating that they wanted me to be in a 3-month comprehensive weight loss program. So I opted to use their own program. My insurance has what they consider to be comprehensive weight loss program. And I figured that they cannot deny their own product, so it would probably be, I guess, safest to use theirs. So that's what I decided to do. In addition to this, I am also starting tomorrow, which is, I'm not really looking forward to this. I'm excited about it, but it's just so early in the morning. Anyhow, starting tomorrow, I will begin my first 4-week-long boot camp. So my fitness boot camp will be running at 6:30 a.m. Monday through Thursday for the next 4 weeks. So, and I also have decided to cut out high fructose corn syrup, just because I know that I'm probably consuming way too many sugars, and so that will help limit my sugar consumption. So hopefully between these things, like, I'm able to lose some weight. I have 2 more Groupons for different boot camps, so when this one ends, then I can start another one. So hopefully by the time the 3 months is up, I will have lost some weight. Anyhow, I'm not new to weight loss surgery. I had the band. I had it put in August of 2008. I went to a doctor in Tijuana, Mexico, at the clinic Bahanyor. Everything was fine at first, so I returned home. I found somebody to give me fills, and everything was hunky-dory. And then about 6 months into it, so sometime around January, February, March, I think it was closer to February, March, I injured myself. I was doing crunches on one of those big exercise balls because it increases your range of motion and therefore works more of your ab. Anyhow, I I felt this like awful stabbing, ripping, horrible feeling when I was doing that, and then the port area became red and inflamed. So it appeared that I had actually torn the port loose. I guess that wasn't properly anchored into my tissue. So at this point in time, I don't have any health insurance, or I didn't have any health insurance. So I used a local service that offers like free healthcare or reduced healthcare to low-income people. And as a graduate student, I definitely qualify for a low income, or at least I did the first time around. So I went to their clinic, their whatever it was called. Like, it wasn't really the ER, but it was, like an emergency clinic kind of thing, because the area where the port was at this point had actually swollen up and then started to leak a fluid. So I started to have leakage from the area. So they did blood cultures to make sure that there wasn't an infection in my blood, which there wasn't. And aside from removing the band, there was really nothing else that they could do. And I was apprehensive to remove the band until I spoke with a bariatric surgeon, which they did not have one. So I kept the band in. And so I continued to leak from then until I went back to the doctor in Tijuana in August of 09, so 1 year following my surgery, we decided that it would be best to remove the port, the idea being that it would allow the area to heal, and then once everything was all healed, I could get a new port replaced. Anyhow, I was able to talk him down to $500 to remove the port, by agreeing, or suggesting rather, that I not undergo a general anesthetic, that I just do a local. So I'm a biologist and I'm fascinated by things like that. So I was actually, hoping to be able to get a view of what was going on. However, I unfortunately didn't really get to see much other than, the doctors themselves standing over me. But I could smell, and it was kind of a really bizarre smell. Anyhow, the port was removed. I went home and the leakage did not stop. So I continued to leak until around July or August, when I had severe pain that began. So I'm in the back of a Starbucks, hanging out behind the building, because I don't really want to give this talk in front of people who can hear me, and my internet at home is shit right now. Anyhow, so I got severe pain in the area. Well, it was like an area kind of in my upper abdomen, and it was followed by like a bump. So there was this bump that was covered by a thin layer of skin. So I went to the hospital emergency room because I was in such pain, and I racked up myself a $20,000 ER visit that resulted only in me being able to get a dose of morphine that really didn't last very long, and to be sent home with a prescription of Vicodin. So that's what happened. When I realized how much it was going to cost, and that I was not going to be able to get that covered by the low-income health insurance service, I decided to start using the insurance that is available to me as a graduate student. The reason why I hadn't had this previously is because it's expensive. It's $300 a month, and for somebody who's making only $1,500 or $1,600 a month gross, that's a lot. So anyhow, I opted for that because of the fact that otherwise I would have a $20,000 bill, and the insurance would retroactively cover that. So it ended up being a better deal for me anyway. So since I had insurance, I decided I would go back to a bariatric clinic. So I went back to the bariatric clinic where I was originally getting fills, and a doctor there agreed to see me. So this is, by the way, at a research university. So it's a medical hospital affiliated with a research university. And so these guys are really up on top of things. I mean, these are the ones who are actually out there, doing things on the cutting edge that then, somebody in a random bariatric clinic in, BFE in the shopping mall will then, use what they've learned to work with the masses. Anyhow, so at the clinic, or sorry, at the bariatric surgeons, he decided that it would be best if we went, after doing some testing, to make sure I wasn't leaking or whatever, to start over again. And so the first step of that would be removing the band. So I agreed to that. Just short of the time when I was going to get the band removed, like I said, I had been experiencing this pain, and it had gone away for a while, but then it came back. And so I went to the bariatric surgeon's office to try to figure out what was going on. Again, I had a lump presenting itself. So the nurse on call, or the nurse practitioner on call, actually sliced it open, thinking that it was going to be something that would drain. However, when she sliced it open, it actually was tubing. So tubing from the band that had been attached to the port had somehow worked its way up inside of me, and then had been starting to bore its way out of me, which makes sense why it hurt so bad. I mean, Literally, tubing, plastic tubing was pushing itself through my abdominal cavity. So anyhow, they pulled the cord tight, or the tubing tight, cut it, and then sent me on my merry way. And then in November, I got my band removed. This actually ended up being a little more complicated than anybody anticipated. So when you have a foreign object or a foreign body placed in your inside of your systems, you naturally have a process called encapsulation, where the scar tissue will form around this particular object. So when they opened me up laparoscopically, they discovered that there was a lot more scar tissue than they had ever imagined. And so it became really difficult for them to be able to separate out, scar tissue from stomach tissue. Anyhow, as a result of this, my overnight stay ended up being 3 nights. I was in excruciating pain afterwards. I was on a morphine drip that I was pushing every time I was able to, and I was also on Vicodin. So this really, really sucked. So anyhow, a couple months after that, so when I had time to heal, I went back to the bariatric clinic to see a different doctor, because the first doctor only does bands. So when I saw the second doctor, he explained to me immediately that I should not get an RNY because of the fact that the tissue of my stomach was damaged from the scar tissue that had built up from the band, and that that is the same tissue that would need to be used to make a pouch. So it would be incredibly dangerous for me to actually go and get an RNY. So instead he decided that maybe it would be best to do a sleeve, and that even with the sleeve he would still have to alter it somewhat to be able to make it so that he avoided that damaged area on the upper part of my stomach near where it connects to the esophagus. Anyhow, so that brings me up to where I'm at today. I am waiting, like I said, to make sure I get insurance approval and all of that. I just want to state that, I did lose weight with the band. I initially started out at 245. I got myself down to 203 at the lowest, and so I lost, 42 pounds. But I have since slowly gained it back with a jump, obviously, after when I got the band removed, because the band alone will cause some restriction. So anyhow, I'm back almost to the original starting weight, and I am looking to reduce that through caloric intake reduction, removing high fructose corn syrup, boot camps, and then hopefully ultimately the vertical sleeve. Okay, this is really long. I didn't mean for it to be. And sorry for the sunglasses. It's really, really bright, and without them, it was really hard to see. Okay, thanks, and I will check up with you guys later.